Hey, Tate.
I shouldn't have worn sandals because I feel naked in front of you guys. I figured it was like, oh, it's television, it's going to be up here, but
Oh, no, full body.
everyone can see these.
They're nice Birkenstocks.
Well, I know, but you shouldn't wear sandals.
At least you didn't wear sandals with socks.
That's true. That would have been a disaster.
What kind of footwear will you be wearing tonight on stage at Celebrity Autobiography?
I think I'm going to close it up and I'm going to wear some nice shoes. You know, it's a nighttime thing, so you don't want to be walking around.
Well, we'll all have to check that out. I want you to okay, we'll promote Celebrity Autobiography in a second, but I was going to say you need to tweet or Instagram the pictures of what you do wear on your feet for those of us who can't be in the audience tonight. And then I was like, I know you've gone on record as saying you don't have social media. However,
No,
I'm
on Instagram, totally.
I found this Instagram that looks like it's really you.
Yeah, I haven't done like the official blue check thing,
Right.
which I don't know how to do, but I would like to do it. My Instagram account is Tate Dono, D-O-N-O. I used to be private, and then I worked with an actress who was like, yeah, I made $150,000 on Instagram last year. I was like, what? And so I was like, I'm going.
Get it on Instagram. Well, right now, I think as of this morning, you have 1,080 followers.
Really?
So you
That's
need
pretty
to
good.
probably bump it up a little
Yeah,
before
I
you're
know.
going to
She
be
has
making...
like 500,000.
Wow. Well, yeah, we're all going to follow you, T8
Thank
Dono, on Instagram and help you add to your paycheck a little bit that way.
I don't think it's gonna. I don't think I'm ever gonna make a cent off of it. But please, I want you to know about my life.
Will you Instagram your footwear choice tonight?
Yes,
so
I
we
have
can-
to now. Yeah,
You do.
Yeah.
So Celebrity Autobiography, the tagline is, we couldn't make this stuff up. And it's true. These are celebrities reading the words of other celebrities as published in their autobiographies.
Well, yeah, we're a bunch of actors who get up there and read word for word, these excerpts from people's autobiographies, and it's just you just can't believe it. I mean, it's hilarious. It's ridiculous. But after a while, I've done it for like 4 or 5 years, and I'm sort of not really shocked at the celebrities who've written these books. I'm kind of more shocked at the editors who were like, "Hey, pal, you definitely shouldn't say that about yourself." You know what I mean? Like, they should sort of like protect these poor people who are saying pretty ridiculous things.
Don't you think the editors want to sell the books, though? And the crazier the stuff that people write? So
all right.
Whose
You're
autobiography will you be reading from tonight?
Well, you never really know. The actors just sort of show up.
Really?
You get amazing actors coming in and doing it. It's fantastic.
Yeah, so tonight you've got Katie Huffman and Orfeh and Eugene Pack, who's the creator of Celebrity Autobiography.
Yep.
And there are some great videos online of other actors who have done it in the past. It's, like you said, it's been around for quite a long time.
Yeah.
So you don't get to prep? You're sort of cold reading this?
Yeah, you're sort of cold reading it. I mean, sometimes I've done Kenny Loggins a lot, who you guys probably don't even know who Kenny Loggins is. You're too young.
That can't
Ask your parents or grandparents. And I get to do Richard Burton a lot, which is a lot of fun.
So when I've seen Celebrity Autobiography several times over the last decade, and when I saw the Richard Burton segment, there was also a Liz Taylor biography that and they were kind of read in conjunction with each other, almost like a dialogue. Yeah,
well, it's like a love triangle, and 3 different people wrote about this love triangle. Debbie, what's her name?
Reynolds?
She was Fisher.
Debbie Fisher.
Debbie Fisher, Eddie Fisher, and Elizabeth Taylor had a love triangle, and each one of them wrote their own autobiography, and of course their own version of this. And it's hilarious because each one makes themselves look fantastic in it, and the other 2 just terrible. And it's classic human behavior of just trying to make yourself look good.
I feel like most of the autobiographies chosen are the kinds that you might find in the back shelf of the Goodwill or in a garage sale. A lot of them feature women from the 80s with huge hair and sparkly fonts.
Like Suzanne Summers, it's fantastic. It's like such a blast from the past. And, it's sort of it's kind of hilarious how naked, like me, wearing Birkenstocks, people are, and how sort of unaware of how narcissistic they are. It's pretty funny.
So this is happening tonight at the Triad Theater in New York City. Tickets are available at celebrityautobiography.com. Of course, this is just the thing that you're doing today, but you were an incredibly busy guy. You've got an acting career going back 30 years. You're a director. You've done both comedy and drama. I feel like you have this whole sort of section of your recent acting career that, like, I get the names of everything confused because it's like Damages and Hostages and and Argo, which is about hostages, and 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 then there was 24, and you're doing this deep, gripping, like binge-worthy drama. And then you're also simultaneously, you've been directing shows that I feel like are much more lighthearted. Glee and Nip Tuck and The OC, which of course Jimmy Cooper is a legendary character. I'm curious what you get recognized for the most.
It totally depends on your age. Like someone your age, I would say maybe The OC or Friends or something like that. And if you're like a lawyer in New York City, Damages. If you're a sci-fi buff, it's like Man in the High Castle. Like it's hilarious. It's sort of like what you recognize me from, I can sort of like figure out, okay, what you do for a living and how old you are and where you were raised, and it's pretty funny.
Oh, that's fun. I watched a bunch of old clips of your early TV work and movie work on YouTube.
No.
YouTube is such a magical destination.
God, I've never gone back.
I just watched the premiere, the pilot episode of Partners.
Oh my God, with John Cryer? Oh my God.
And you need to watch it just as inspiration to grow your hair out long
I know,
again.
right? My hair was insane.
I bet it would still look like that.
No, yeah, big, but white and gray.
It's great hair.
Yeah, I look like, somebody from The Lord of the Rings or something
There's
like that.
also some old TV interviews of you, like, on a boat with Billy Zane, and, like, just, it feels like a time capsule.
Oh, my God.
And I feel like now, people who are growing up in the business as teenagers, as you were when you started with Space Camp and stuff, like, we all will have our lives documented that way because of social media.
Yeah.
But you and the generation of young actors who came up with you are the only people your ages who can go back and find this trove.
I know, we're lucky. You're right.
I was going to ask you, is it lucky or is it kind of a curse?
Well, it's sort of like whenever I I'm at the gym and I see, oh my God, there's an old Friends episode or something like that. I'm always like pleasantly surprised. Because in my mind's eye, I'm sort of like, oh, Jesus, that was a brutal show, or oh, God, I was terrible in that. And then I'm sort of very forgiving of myself, I guess. And I'm like, oh, my God, look at that. Jesus, I used to be so young, or my hair, or, whatever. It's just, it's like going back and, it's like looking through an old photo album, You're like, oh, geez, look at that. God, they're dead.
Wow. Yikes.
Sorry.
Does working in documentary, as you have as a director, do you use that feeling at all? Like, wow, it's my responsibility now to be on the side of the documentor as opposed to the documented to do this person justice? Does having been on camera inform your job as a director, I guess is what I'm asking.
Well, yeah, of course. I just sort of like think about like, well, what do I want from a director? And basically you just want help from a director or somebody, if you're making a documentary and you're asking questions, you just want to help that person do their job, tell their story as easily and as fun and as best as possible. So that's, of course, really tricky, and every person is totally different. So, but working as a director has been so much fun. First of all, I fell in love with acting again. First of all, acting is so much easier than directing. It's ridiculous.
Like you said tonight, all you have to do is show up.
Yeah, totally, and read some words. Yeah, I mean, there's just so much more work involved when you're directing, but and you just before I started directing, I would act, and I sort of was like, anyone can do what I do. It's just sort of like I was sort of getting disillusioned about acting, and then when I got behind the camera, I was like, oh my God, you're a good actor. I don't have to do anything. Oh, you're the best. You know, because when you don't have a good actor you're working with, or somebody who's not trained or ill cast or whatever, you have to spend so much work trying to get a decent performance and, you know, move the camera and do all sorts of massaging to get the scene to work. But when you have a great actor, you're just like, ugh, great, I'll just turn the cameras on and let's go, you know?
Do you think that's what brings actors to continue working with the same directors over and over? Because the directors identify those people as, like, not in need of massage.
This person doesn't need a massage. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I'm sure directors who hire actors because they're great to work with, and they get what's going on.
Looking over your resume, there are several directors that you've worked with over and over again, one of whom is Kenneth Lonergan, who you worked with in Manchester by the Sea and who wrote a play that you did here in New York in 2001. So you've known him a long time.
2 plays. I've done Lobby Hero,
Right.
and then I did the medieval play, which he wrote and directed.
Yeah, that's right. I actually was just talking to a friend yesterday who saw the medieval play and said that you were fantastic. Now, I think about Good People, which David Lindsay-Abaire wrote, that Frances McDormand won the Tony for.
Yeah.
Her Tony speech kind of went viral.
In the jean jacket?
In the jean jacket. Her jean jacket got its own Twitter account. And people were like, is this lady crazy? So I'm just going to ask you, like, is this lady crazy?
No, she is. She has a mixed feeling about awards. You know, when I first met her and I started working with her, I was like, "So you got to tell me what's that like to win an Oscar? I mean, that must be just what's it like?" And she's like, "You know, when I got up there, I was accepting that award for all the actors in the world." And I was like, really? I'm an actor. I didn't realize that but, you know, it's sort of like she has, you know, I don't think she likes awards. She doesn't like, so I think she put the jean jacket on to say, hey, you know, awards are silly. We're all in this together. Like, who's to say I'm better than, you know. I mean, they are kind of silly, you know, competing. It's not like a sprint. You know, it's sort of hard to decide who's a better actor and who's a better performance. You know, it's... But she was awesome in that, and she totally deserved that Tony. She was amazing.
That whole cast was great. I mean, the woman who played your wife in that show, also a Tony winner now.
I know.
Renee Elise Gould's very famous for Hamilton.
She was fantastic to work with, and seeing her in Hamilton was just amazing.
She's really, yeah.
Well, she got me tickets. That's why I loved her.
It's good to know somebody can get tickets.
Yeah.
Speaking of awards, how did it feel to win an Emmy?
Oh God, it was fantastic.
So you're not in the Frances McDormand camp. You're like,
no,
mine.
I want as many awards as possible. I will never wear a jean jacket.
You will wear Birkenstocks.
I will. Well, it's not an award. If you were giving me an award, I mean, gosh, yeah, it's a fantastic feeling. I mean, we were kind of shocked. I made a short documentary. It's not like a big time Emmy, but.
An Emmy's an Emmy.
An Emmy's an Emmy. It's pretty cool. It's sitting there up on my shelf. I'm pretty psyched.
This was the Arthur Ashe documentary.
Yeah, it was a documentary about Arthur Ashe, the tennis player, and his brother. And it's a great unknown story. It's only 11 minutes long, and it's for 30 for 30, which is a great series that ESPN produces. And I watch ESPN 30 for 30s all the time. They're so good.
And you also made an NFL movie was that also for ESPN?
No, that was for the NFL channel.
That's
I
right.
made a documentary about this crazy connection between the Super Bowl and the Iranian hostage crisis. It was pretty, it was fun. It was really good.
So is sports documentary your
genre? It's crazy. I was directing a Gossip Girl, and the wardrobe girl came up to me and she's like, do you like sports documentaries? I'm like, are you kidding me? That's all I watch. And she was like, well, my husband makes them and they're looking for fun directors to work with. Would you ever be interested? And I was like, yeah. So I went in for this meeting and they're like, okay, well, what sports documentaries do you want to make? And I'm like, oh, God, I don't know.
They just gave you a blank slate?
Well, no, they and I didn't have anything. I was just like, I don't know. You give me a story, I'll try to make it. And I left that meeting going, oh boy, I blew that. I should have come up with some good stories. I just didn't have any. And I got a phone call from one of the women there, and she's like Maura Mant, who's a huge producer and great woman. And she said, "Do you know Arthur Ashe?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Have you ever read his book?" And I'm like, "Oddly enough, I have read his book." And there's just one sentence at the end of his book saying that his brother served another tour in Vietnam so he could play tennis. Wow. And we were like, "Well, what's that about?" And so we just investigate that, and it's a crazy, beautiful story about brotherly sacrifice, and then that just took off from there, and yeah.
You have a movie coming out at the end of this year that's gone through a couple of name changes. Remind me what the current name is.
It's called The Uplift.
And what can you tell us about it?
It stars Kevin Hart and Bryan Cranston and Nicole Kidman. And
so
I don't
no
know
one we've ever heard of.
Yeah, there's unknown. It's a little tiny film.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm the star, obviously. And it's I don't know if you guys saw the film, the French film, The Intouchables. It won the Oscar. It's a great film. It's a true story about a quadriplegic who hires this sort of super unqualified but really fun guy to take care of him, and it's about their friendship and their relationship. And Kevin Hart plays the caretaker, and Bryan Cranston is the quadriplegic, and I play this sort of snotty neighbor who doesn't approve of this Kevin Hart character.
So we can expect to see that around the holidays?
Yeah, sometime before the end of the year.
Great. And, of course, those of us in New York do not have to wait that long to see you perform because Celebrity Autobiography is tonight. And the person that I forgot when I was listing down who is going to be part of the show tonight at the Triad Theater is Will Shortz, who is the king of crosswords. He's in charge of all the crossword puzzles in the New York Times. And I know from other interviews that I have read that you've done that he's like a hero of yours, as he is of mine.
Totally. I mean, that guy is a total genius. He's just like... I don't know how you write crossword puzzles.
I don't either.
How do you do it?
I don't know. I want to take a class on it or something.
Yeah.
I do them every day. Do you?
Yeah. I try to do them. I do the mini on my phone. Mm-hmm. Do you do the mini?
I skip the mini and go right to the full.
Okay. Well,
size.
you're a pro,
but I do them on my phone, except for Sundays. I like to do in paper.
Oh yeah. You're a traditionalist.
Yeah, I guess for Sundays.
Yeah, but it's I'm kind of intimidated by the full one, like every day. That takes you got to be really smart. You know who's a genius at crossword puzzles? Is Morgan Freeman.
Really? That doesn't surprise me.
Morgan Freeman, I worked with him a long time ago, and he is like filling out the Sunday New York Times like he's filling out like a form from the DMV. It's unbelievable.
Does he do it in pen?
He does it in pen.
Yeah.
It's like, and I was like, wow. And then while we were filming, he had these books, and I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, he belongs to these English cryptology clubs, and he sends away for these crazy puzzles that I didn't even understand. He explained them like, well, you take a number, and and I was like, what? He's a genius, that guy.
Cool. Yeah. Well, Will, you should ask Will Shortz tonight. They're doing this series this year where celebrities co-write the crossword. Neil Patrick Harris just did one, and it was all about Harry Houdini. And so maybe you can get in on that, and he can teach you how to write crosswords. And I want in. If you guys write one together,
all right.
I want to come at least observe.
You're my neighbor, so
I know.
I'll just
that's
knock
why when
on
you
your
said
door.
snotty neighbor, I raised my eyebrow.
Oh, that's right. That's right. We live close to each other. We live on the same block.
But I never said hello because I didn't want to be that person who was like, I know who you are, but you don't know.
Who's that good-looking blonde who never says hello to me?
Well, now we've met officially, and if you ever need to borrow a cup of sugar, you know where I am.
Yeah, great.
Okay, Celebrity Autobiography, The Uplift.
Did I embarrass you? I apologize. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Look, you can embarrass me in that way anytime you want.
Okay.
Celebrity Autobiography tonight at the Triad Theater. Tickets at celebrityautobiography.com. And if you can't make it tonight, this show is a regular
comes back
series.
all the time.
A
Always has a
cast of
different
characters.
cast, amazing actors. It's really, really funny. And we used to do Donald Trump's, The Art of the Deal all the time.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, well, he's this guy who wrote this book. And now we don't do it anymore because it's not funny. I mean, it used to be hilarious. Yeah. But now it's just, wow.
What's the most current autobiography that, because I know I've seen, like, I remember Britney Spears was in there, but that's probably 10, 15 years old now, that book.
Super current, like Jay-Z, Beyonce, you know,
yeah?
like, yeah. It's, you know, if Alec Baldwin just wrote a book, and yeah, they read from it. Matter of fact, his wife read from it.
Really?
Yeah. It's hilarious.
Would you ever write an autobiography, and would being in this show like color the stories that you would tell?
Yeah, totally. I'd be like imagining some actor ripping me to shreds.
What would Michael Urie sound like reading this passage?
Yeah. Funny. He'd make it funny.
Yeah, he would.
Yeah.
I feel like you must have a book in you.
I don't know. You know, I don't think so. I mean. Pretty boring.
I mean, I wasn't going to bring up like your dating history, but I feel like you could write a book just about the famous ladies in your past.
Yeah, you know.
That's all I'm going to say about that. It's actually time for us to take a couple of questions from the audience.
Oh, good.
Hi, how are you?
Hi.
My question is there a particular moment you remember from Celebrity Autobiography that was either really funny or just really down in the dumps? Like, is there something that just stands out in your mind?
It's really funny you say that because I was dating my wife at the time, and she has a son who's 12 now, but he was around 8. And Celebrity Autobiography is pretty tame. It's pretty, it's not inappropriate at all. And I was like, yeah, you could bring him. Bring him. It would be fun. So he sits down, and she's sort of in the front with him, and it proceeds to be the filthiest show of all time. I mean, they read from a Madonna's sex book.
Oh, jeez.
And I was like, oh, my God. He was like 7 or 8 at the time, and it mostly went over him. But my poor wife was like, I can't believe, like, the whole theater, she was up in the front, like, they could see this, kid, and they're like, they all think that I'm, like, the worst mother in the world, like bringing some child to listen to pornography.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was a
that sounds
low
like
point.
A standout moment. We have another question over here.
Hey, Tate, when you first started your acting career, who did you idolize?
Oh, wow. Who did I idolize? Well, when I first started, I was a big fan of Marlon Brando and Jimmy Stewart and Henry Fonda and John Malkovich, I saw him in a play, a tiny little play, Steppenwolf, and I was just like, this guy blew my mind. But just hundreds of actors, gosh, James Dean when I was like a teenager and I saw, Rebel Without a Cause, I was like blown away. But yeah, I don't know. Tons of actors. Tons.
You studied acting at USC, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like you very easily could have gone into that like teen dreamboat category without getting any training. But I think the fact that you're still working now is like really a testament to how hard you worked despite having the face that might not have required it. Does that make sense?
Well, that's awfully nice of you. Yeah, I think that is the sort of, I was fortunate that I had a lot of training because it's, been able to, because, careers, go up and down and, you got to be able to work, do voices for.
Oh, right. We didn't even talk about
Hercules or whatever, and all that stuff comes from training. Like if you can only do one thing, like be an awesome looking dude.
Which you did have down. And do.
Yeah, but I want to do something else,
Right. What I really want to do is direct. And now you are.
Yeah, you got to have a lot of irons in the fire if you want to stay busy.
Mm-hmm. We have time for one more question.
Hey. So I'm wondering if it's directing or acting or stage or screen, how do you choose what projects you go to next?
Whatever will have me, basically. It's embarrassing to admit, but I don't do a lot of choosing. I really don't. I mean, there are about 4 or 5 actors in the world who can be like, you know what? I'm only going to do this, or I'm just going to take that. Most actors are like, yeah, okay, great. Maybe, it doesn't look too good on the page, but, someone else is involved. Mm. Yeah, sure, I'll do it. It's really not a lot of choosing. But if I ever got to a place where I was, I had the luxury of choosing, it's always about the writing. Everything. It doesn't matter the medium. It doesn't, it could be a web series or it could be a play. It doesn't matter if it's really well written. Every actor is going to be like, whoa, I got to do this. That's like Kenny Lonergan, doing, I did his plays in, theaters smaller than this soundstage right here and with less of an audience. And, it's just like the guy's the greatest, you gotta do it.
Speaking of great writing, you were in a movie that was released earlier this year called 3 Generations, written by Nicole Beckwith, and I wish that film had gotten more accolades and more people had seen it. It's on Netflix now, but you have some incredible scene work in there.
It's really fun and really, it's kind of a lighthearted view or a very human view of the transgender issue. This Elle Fanning is in it, and she is just fantastic. I mean, she should get an Academy Award. I mean, she will eventually, but she deserves it for this one. I thought she was amazing in it. And Susan Sarandon and Naomi Watts, they're all fantastic.
Well, I love the idea of great writing as the through line from your entire career, because whether it's comedy, whether it's drama, whether it's something you're directing, something you're acting in, or something you're just showing up for, like Celebrity Autobiography, there is great writing in these books.
Yeah, there's great in quotes.
Well, great can mean a lot of different things.
That's right.
It sure is entertaining. I can't wait to see you and the other celebrities bring these autobiographies to life tonight. There's footage on YouTube. You can find the series in several cities over the next few months, and we'll look for the Uplift film at the end of this year and continue to celebrate the work that you do across hopefully another 30 years.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Tate Donovan.
Thank you.